Hello and welcome to the Metapod Podcast, Pokemon TCG podcast that revolves around the evolving meta. We have revolved to the best time of the year. Sean, this is the weekend of this is the week of, we're not at the weekend yet, but this upcoming weekend is the Pokemon World Championships. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. I will be there in Anaheim with you to largely, actually, I was going to say to witness the World Championships. I think we're going to be spending most of our time playing side events and other things, more so than just sitting in the chairs and watching. But
Yeah, I mean, we have Pokemon Center trips that we both got. We got side events that we've talked about doing, and just meeting all you guys as well. I just want to iterate this at the very beginning in the Discord server. We will be posting in there, like where we're gonna be, stuff like that. Organize like kind of little meetups and stuff like that. We have one for Friday that we'll talk about here in a second, but for any updates, especially me, I'm going to be posting like all the time where I'm at in the venue there when I move from place to place. So
Jake's going to be sharing his location. There'll be a text thread where you can just follow Jake
pretty
around.
much. Yeah, I mean, like I'm going to be ready to meet anybody and everyone who wants to, say hi and, get a card or something. I will have cards to sign. I have a variety of Metapod cards and Rowlet cards because I have like 600
very special Metapod cards that I will be bringing. I will say these are very
special
limited quantity. So
Oh my gosh, are those the for all the audio listeners, is this the Oh, those are so funny.
So I have a bunch from when I opened packs. And these are all extras that I have. So I will be and what's weird is there are like two of them. I don't know the difference. Like I think most of them are either in like maybe katakana or hiragana or kanji, and then there are two from a different print run that have a different lettering. You can't see on the camera. That have a different lettering and a different back than the rest. So
Interesting.
Yeah, the deep lore of Renimu right here. Anyways.
The deep lore. But to get updates on where we are, what we're doing at the World Championships, join our Discord server. The official Discord server link is in the description of the show notes and YouTube. I'm 99.9% sure it works. But if it doesn't, please let me know on any social media platform or whatnot. But anyways, we do know that on Friday of the World Championships, we will be meeting up at the Hall A entrance at 1 p.m. Pacific time. We'll again post this in the Discord, but I'm going to be playing in the GLC side event at 2 at that time, 2:30 in Hall A. So at 1 o'clock, we'll be over there on Friday. That's going to be, I would say, like kind of the main meetup, which is why we're announcing it.
Yeah. Right now, if you want to put something on your calendar, 1 p.m. Friday is the time that we know. But then,
yeah,
like we were saying, stuff will be in the Discord if you want to find us, if we're out and about.
Also, check your emails. I got my Pokemon Center, literally right before we started, got my Pokemon Center emails saying that I am eligible to buy Black Bolt White Flare ETBs. Because when we had the signups for the Pokemon Center pop up, you could click like interest lists, like the Bear Walker skateboard and stuff like that. So make sure to check your emails because I think you need to present the email or whatever's in the email when you go buy it at the Pokemon Center pop up. So make sure you have those ready and, like your have the confirmation of your registration, things like that. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited for Worlds.
Jake, before we get into all of our Worlds predictions and analysis, there was one piece of news that we wanted to talk about. Also, I did go by the Uniqlo in my area, and I picked up a couple of things, including the Gengar sweater, which is actually dope.
Oh yeah, because the drop, the Uniqlo, Pokemon TCG, and Pocket merchandise that we talked about last week.
Yep.
Or the week prior. It's one of those weeks. Anyways, that ended up dropping today. Sean rocking it, and I'm here with my Azul GG shirt that I wear weekly because it's just a black shirt and it fits me perfectly.
Um,
Uh,
but yeah,
how do you
getting in.
like it? How do you like the Uniqlo Gengar shirt,
I
actually?
like it. I got it large. It's like a little oversized for me, but I prefer
Mhm,
that. It's very soft. The material is really nice. Most Uniqlo shirts are like, I would say the material quality of the shirts are usually like good. I wouldn't call them like super premium or anything, but like it's a
mhm.
$25 t-shirt or a $40 sweater, which is like
Oh, really?
yeah, it's very inexpensive.
Yeah, that's actually a really good price.
Yeah, Uniqlo is always like a really good deal. So for those of you who don't have Uniqlos in your area, like Jake, it's always really inexpensive, but like the quality for that cost is very good, but it's not like super premium. That
Mhm,
said, the Slowpoke one, the way that it's printed on, I expect that the more I wash it and wear it over time, it will have some wear, but
mm.
it's yet to be seen whether or not that kind of wear is like the cool fading you get over time, or like the whole thing just starts peeling off. But
Yeah.
Uniqlo does enough of this that I think that it's probably the former. Like they make enough t-shirts that it would all do the same thing in the wash over time.
Yeah, I mean,
They've
I
done it.
I like the kind of faded
Yeah.
style over time because it gives it, like, a little vintage look. The peeling just makes it feel weird.
No,
Makes
it
you wanna
just
peel the whole thing off.
yeah, no, peeling is bad. And I would assume that Uniqlo, because they do it with so many different shirts over the years, that
Mhm.
it's not going to do that.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But, uh, yeah, hopefully I mean, I wonder if they're gonna sell some of those at the Pokemon Center.
I doubt it.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean Pokemon, because Uniqlo is like a separate company, separate brand, all that stuff. Like, I think they're gonna sell their own Pokemon Center merch, not like other brands stuff that has been
Mhm.
licensed. Who? I mean, who knows? But doubt it. But Jake, we do have the one piece of news that we wanted to talk about briefly, and that is we have the 2025 Trainers Toolkit was revealed. And I don't know, did we make a guess for like what we thought the card would be in this year's toolkit? I don't know if we did.
I'm sure I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure we were positive about Pheasantipity at one point, or said we hope that Pheasantipity is at one point. And wouldn't you know, the 25th or 2025 Trainers Toolkit is going to be Pheasantipity. It's going to be releasing October 24th for $35. If you don't know what the Trainers Toolkit is, it's one of our favorite competitive products here on the Metapod podcast. It is a box that has like an alternate art version of a very good and popular card, Pokemon specifically. It's usually a support Pokemon. It's been Dedenne in the past, Squawkabilly, Luminion. Was there an Arceus Trainer's Toolkit?
I don't remember. Maybe.
Or no, I think that's the premium collection that I'm
Oh, right,
thinking
right,
of.
right.
But anyways, very good Pokemon over the course of the competitive side to make it on this toolkit. And Pheasantipity EX is the next one. It's a great product to help drive down the price of that card in general. But also, like, you get some packs in there from some of the latest sets. You get dice. You get a whole stack of trainer cards, which are like competitively viable trainer cards, which is huge to be able to help people get into the game, help fulfill play sets, things of that nature. And this year is really interesting because they're putting in a couple ace specs as well in the box.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Maximum Belt, Granitry, and Hyper Aroma. I will say,
Mhm.
yet again, another product that does not have Secret Box. So,
Secret Box being the most played ace spec, right? Somehow does not have any play Pokemon stamps. Somehow does not have any reprints in League battle decks. Nothing. It
yeah,
is quite a crime, actually. But Maximum Belt, Grand Tree, and Hyper Aroma have all seen competitive play at one point or another, right? They didn't choose Pokevital A,
Drew.
which is nice. So semi useful A specs.
Yeah, yeah, situational specs. But even
Yeah.
still, look, Fez is great. It goes in probably like 60-70% of decks.
Hmm.
And to your point, it'll take it from a $10 card down to a $3 card. So it'll make picking a couple extra copies up for the people who have like 2 or 3 decks very
Yeah.
easy. So
One thing that I do want to note before we move on to the bulk of the episode, talking about the potential decks in the format, we've talked about previously with Pokemon reformatting their packs. There was a statement that say it was either code card or energy card, but then that got corrected and said there will still be code card energy cards, but it was still up in the air if collection boxes had a code card inside of them because that part wasn't revised at all. In the trainer's toolkit, you do get a code card for
Yep.
TCG Live. I thought that was really interesting based on our conversations the last couple weeks.
So I would say, I mean, it's a good time of year for this to come out. I think it used to come out in the summer. I might be misremembering that wildly, but um, if you have any friends or people in your life, family members who you think would be interested in getting into the Pokemon TCG, whatever, I think a combination of a trainer's toolkit when this comes out and a more recent league battle deck. Don't get something too old because then rotation will make it annoying. But
Mm-hmm.
those two products, I'm amazed that Pokemon hasn't that now worked to bundle League Battle Deck plus Trainer's Toolkit as a holiday gift because it feels like the perfect entry into the TCG. $20 for a deck, $35 for a few packs and some staple cards. You can basically smash those two things together and now go from 70% of a competitive deck to like 90% of a competitive deck. So,
Yeah, it's pretty good, the stuff that they do for the introduction of the card game, which is why we're seeing events time and time again, beating the cap potential. And now not everybody can qualify for Worlds with X amount of points. Now you got to be top 128 because there's too many people qualifying for Worlds, things of that nature. But that'll be fun to get. Sean,
yep.
the World Championships, the funnest time of year. I will say, if you're not going to it, there will be drops on Twitch, I believe, of the World Championships
Yep.
TCG side, I think. And there's going to be like a ton of giveaways like that they're doing on the stream and stuff. So if you want to pull it up in the background, connect your Twitch account to your Pokemon TCG Live account, you'll get some rewards. I think I posted it in the Discord at one point of what all the rewards were going to be, but I can't remember them. Oh yeah, there's Ends Resolve, there's Hilda, Dino, Zwellius, and Hydreigon EX
Yep.
illustration rares.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. So,
Yeah.
but Jake, let's get into the tier list. We have, I think every deck that's like going to be a top tier deck is in this list, but I also threw in a bunch of like mid tier, as well as maybe you could call them sleepers or bait
What
picks.
was what was the deck that I got really fired up about when you tried to tell me it was a good deck? What
Frostlass
was
Monkey
that one?
Dory.
Okay, all right. I'm back on that hate train.
You're
All
back
right.
on the
I just
hate
wanted to
train.
lock in and remember that
Okay, that's
energy,
good.
for this one too.
You remember that energy. I will say, I know
Consistency.
that online tournaments are not the same, but it has done pretty well in a few large online events of 200 to 600 players. So
Yeah. No, I will agree. I did fumble through some of the online events, and I will not have as aggressive as a
I'm like
stance this time around.
Maractus is strong and Monkey is strong. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But Jake, we can start from left to right here. I sent you a screenshot so you can follow along because Jake
Mhm.
can't see my screen. But we're gonna start with what I think is a pretty, it's a strong pick. It may not be the top pick, but I think it'll set a little bit of like a standard for where the other decks might go, and that is Charizard EX. Now, I haven't specified what version of Charizard. We can just discuss that. Whether that's Charizard Pidgeot, Charizard with Dusknoir line, Charizard with Dragapult. We haven't gotten into that, but where would you put some version of Charizard, Jake?
I feel like I would put Charizard like in the C tier. I feel like Charizard just doesn't hit the exact numbers that it wants to at times. And like, if you want to play with the Dragapult, you're better off, in my opinion, just playing Dragapult without the Charizard. The Pidgeot, I think, is great, but I don't like you play Charizard because you want to beat Gardevoir, but you still can't beat Gardevoir. So it's like, I don't really know. I mean, you don't hit Goldango for weakness anymore, unfortunately, and Goldango just
Well,
blows you up. The numbers
well,
are really difficult.
I will actually say, Jake, you do beat Gold Dingo pretty handily with Charizard now because of Chi-Yu. There's a single prize Chi-Yu
Okay.
attacker for 2 energy, and you blow it up, and then the next turn, say they take in a couple extra prizes, and after that, you're knocking them out, and then you're forcing them to have enough energy to do 330, or you just put the Chi-Yu up again with a Super Rod. It's fine.
Well, when you use the Chi Yu against Goldengo, I use Scizor. Right, so
Well,
we're
but
just trading one prize to one prize.
well, sure. But I'm not going to send my Chi-Yu into Scizor. I'm going to send my Chi-Yu into a Goldengo to take 2, and then you can bring your single prize up if you want.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is like when you change from 2 prize to 1 prize, I then change from 2 prize to 1 prize like in a response,
And
right?
then
Because
I
you're always
Pidgeot
gonna
for a
start
boss,
Goldengo.
and then I Pidgeot for a boss, and then I just grab your other Goldengo.
Okay.
I think it's a better deck than I personally think is better than C, because I don't
I'd
think
be
it is
fine
an
putting
A
it
or an
in
S
B, but
tier.
I wouldn't put any higher than that.
I do think I agree with you that it it has some awkward matchups because of how much damage it deals out in the early game, generally speaking, being a problem. Like, I don't know if it has a good Raging Bolt matchup. I'm not sure, but like 240 is kind of a
I
lot,
don't think so.
and
Yeah, I
so
don't think it would.
yeah, and then also the Teal Mask Ogerpon just blows you up. So I think it's really bad actually.
Yeah,
So
like I just have a hard time believing in a deck that loses to Raging Bolt, loses to Gardevoir, probably loses to Grimmsnarl,
yeah.
with all the abilities stack up.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know, I just feel like it's just not a good play. I thought it was
That's fair.
curious at the beginning, like a couple weeks ago. I think I mentioned on the podcast, I was like, oh, Charizard feels really interesting. But I just think the way the meta has shifted, I don't know if I would bring Charizard to Worlds.
I I could understand that. I think somebody, 1 or 2 people, will probably actually make a pretty good run with the deck. But I agree with you. I don't think it will see a high percentage of players
Hmm.
for the exactly the reasons that you mentioned, which is I think that it has enough bad matchups that your good matchup into Goldengo and maybe some other random good matchups, and just the flexibility of the fact that you can run Pidgeot and get whatever you want, and then maybe
Hmm.
run a small line of Dusknoir to, I don't know, manipulate some prizes. I think also Briar. Um, I know Andrew was talking Charizard up quite a bit, and just like I don't know why people don't play Briar more. I think you only play Briar if you're playing the Dusknoir line, because that way you can better control when your opponent's exactly at 2 prizes.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times too is like when you want to play Briar, oh, I gotta play boss, or
Yeah,
I just got Iono, so I gotta play a supporter that helps me find my pieces to like execute in the next turn. So I just think that Briar is really hard to play.
I agree with you. It's harder to like get when you actually need it. So,
Hmm.
and I think it forces you to play a Dusknoir line, which maybe not all Charizards want to do. So it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
Um, the next one on the list, Jake, is Joltik Box. I think a deck list that people have been very excited about for a very long time. Do you see this continuing its upward-ish trajectory in the last 3 months?
I had Joltik Box in like I think I rated Joltik Box really highly for NAIC and it bit me in the butt. It did not perform as well as I thought it would. I think it'll do better than NAIC, but I don't see this any higher other than B. I think it's really good, but I think just the energy count that you need for Iron Hands, you have all the Monkey Dories and the Frostlasses running about, like to manipulate the damage counters on your Pikachu. So your Pikachu with Resolute Heart doesn't necessarily have Resolute Heart in
Yeah.
a lot of situations, right? So I think that Joltik box is really cool and I think it's really fun, but I don't think I'd put it any higher than B.
Yeah, I'm happy putting it at B. I agree with you. I think for every good matchup you have where you get the perfect start and you can Iron Hands turn 2 and take out some
Hmm.
things for a couple of prizes, I think you'll have just as many matches where, like, I don't know, people say like, "Oh, you never miss jolting charge," but I'm like, I beg to differ. I have seen it. um,
I mean, it's just like you have to have that start, which is so important. and there's so many situations. I feel like Goldango is kind of a gatekeeper right now because I keep thinking of Goldango. I'm like, how do you beat Goldango?
It's pretty
Right, besides
awkward.
like Iron Hands 4 times in a game or something like that. Um,
It is,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Goldango's very awkward.
I just feel like it's asking for a lot of times.
I mean, I guess with Goldango, it depends on if they're able to find and get Monkey Dory going in
Hmm.
Goldango, which they sometimes
Wait,
can.
in Goldango?
Yeah, yeah. Some Goldangos are playing Monkey Dory.
I guess that makes sense because you're running dark energies. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
actually, you do play one of. Yeah,
Uh, but like, I think in Goldango, in that matchup, you're probably relying more so on your Pikachu because you know that they can't insta KO it unless
yeah,
they
that's
find
true.
the monkey. But even if they find the monkey, if there's no damage on board for them, right? If you're Okoing them, what are they going to do? Okay, you have a Monkey Dory and no damage counters. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way really for Monkey Door or for Goldango at least to put damage counters on itself.
No. But I'm happy leaving it in B. I don't think it's like I don't think there's an S tier deck probably at all, but I'll leave the tier there, just in case. But next one, and this is one of the potential baits, is Cynthia's Garchomp. Are you
D
enticed by 400
D
HP?
D.
D. Yeah, I look. There was a
I
really,
don't know why it's on our tier list, Sean. Like it's
I will say, a 600 person tournament. The deck went 9-3, and it beat all of the relevant
yeah, it
meta
lost
decks.
3 times.
Well, 9-3 though is very good out of 12. 9-3 is a day 2 at Worlds. So,
Yeah, that's just day 2 though.
I mean, yeah,
That's just day 2.
there was only one. And don't get me wrong, I do think 400 HP is not bad. I just think that, you know, the grass weakness is maybe a little awkward, because people, there are a few decks out there that have Teal Mask Ogerpon or Virizion, that, or Leafeon maybe even, that like will hit you for weakness, basically making your massive 400 HP pointless. So,
Mhm.
um, all right, moving on to the next one, we have Marnie's Grimmsnarl, Jake.
I feel like Grimmsnarl is I think Grimmsnarl is a pretty good deck. I feel like there's a lot of interesting things that you can do with it, and it's really, really consistent.
Yeah.
But like Grimmsnarl, I feel like when I watch it, doesn't like compel me. Like I watch it and I'm like, I feel like this isn't the best deck. Like it just feels like the best average deck. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. That's so weird to say because it's not true, probably, but I don't know. Just something about Grimmsnarl just like doesn't compel me the same way as like Gardevoir does. Spoiler alert: I think Gardevoir is really good. Um, so I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know how you feel about Grimmsnarl.
Um, I agree with you. I think it's a very good deck. I think the challenge that Grimmsnarl often has is it's not very good being at putting your opponent behind the 8 ball quickly. Meaning
Hmm.
you're only doing, what is it, 180 damage for the first attack? You're doing
Yeah, 180
180.
damage, spread 3, and maybe stacking up damage counters.
Right. And you can stack them up if you have the Frostlass as well, but it is a little bit like a combo deck where you need a whole Marnie's Grimmsnarl line, you probably need a backup, and you need 1 or 2 Frostlass, plus a Monkey
Knee
Dory,
monkey.
plus with an energy on it, hopefully with an energy switch or whatever. Like, you need like kind of a lot of pieces to make the machine work. And I feel like
And
for
it's
as
really good at getting those pieces, I feel like.
the stadium helps, right? But
Yeah,
like for as
it's
often as you
huge.
have the stadium, how often are you missing your Frostlass, right? Or missing a way to attach energy to Monkey or whatever. I, so that's where I'm like, I think it's a really interesting machine that when it works well, it's a really strong deck. And when you are missing a piece or two, I think the deck is kind of like, I can't put enough pressure on without those pieces, and my opponent is gonna find what they need to railroad me.
I think it's also really interesting to see the different tech options in Grimmsnarl,
Mm.
especially when you talk about like TM Devo.
Yeah.
Not everybody runs TM Devo. I think it is popular though. to be able to, once you stack those damage counters, as you're saying, like hitting 180, spread 30, Frostlass stack, Monkey stack, you can de-evolve a lot of different things, especially when you talk about Crustle, right? We'll
Oh,
talk about Crustle later,
yeah.
like that goes from like an unwinnable matchup to like, or I shouldn't say unwinnable. It goes from like a difficult matchup to like, haha, wiped out your whole board, GG's.
Honestly, yeah.
Like in a situation like that, and then you talk about the Yveltal as well. Like some people play the Yveltal from, I think it's Journey Together or Destined
Mm,
Rivals, one of the two, that just like stacks up more damage counters for Pokemon that
interesting.
have damage counters on them. So you, like if you have a small board on your opponent's side, you can like turbo the game in a sense while only giving up one prize.
Interesting. I haven't seen the Yveltal, but yeah, I mean, you just explode so much energy onto your board that if you have the right couple of extra like energy switches or whatever, like you can afford to play like a tech card or two, which is cool.
Yeah,
And
and
like you
that's the
said,
cool thing. That's like the cool consistent thing about the deck is just like um you can play like, how many is it? Like 8 energies, 7 energies, because you only need 2 that you get from evolving. It's very similar to Charizard in that sense. So like for your Monkey Dory or for your Yveltal or something like that, you just need an attachment from hand, and you don't necessarily even need energy switch, right? You can
mhm,
find energy search. Right, I know Grimmsnarl plays energy search sometimes. Like, if you play like Arven builds, or I mean, they often play Arvens. That's so free to like find and like get off. So I don't know. Again, it's very consistent, but it doesn't compel me.
I do think that it's going to be one of the decks though competing for that top 8 placement. It would
Hmm.
not surprise me if we see a Marnie's Grimmsnarl 1 in the top 8, maybe 2, depending on the meta and who plays what. But I don't see it taking down the whole tournament. Probably.
Yeah, I agree.
Next one on our list, Jake, is an old favorite of Andrew and the Tag Team Podcast crew, which is Maridon. Do you feel like Zekrom and Electric has catapulted Maridon back
No,
into the
because I
meta?
think you should just play Joltik Box instead.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Joltik Box is just better Maridon. Like if you want to play Maridon, go for it, but you should just play Joltik Box.
Yeah. I mean, look, the consistency Maridon offers, I think, is crazy. Um, and I do really like the Electric, but the Zekrom is just a late game finisher. And it's a good one. Like, the deck needs it. It needed, like, when they lost Raichu V, they needed some other late game finisher, and Zekrom can do that.
Hmm.
But it's a tough one because it's like, is going heavy Iron Hands clothed with Zekrom enough of a strategy to beat things like Grimmsnarl or Gardevoir or even Goldengo, right? Like,
I just think getting off Iron Hands is way harder because we have Buduin format that is still pretty prevalent, right? So your electric generators are nothing
it's
at
true.
all. And there's a chance where you could whiff the electric generator, whereas in Joltik Box, right? That just one energy little guy goes. You've got Crispin to be able to accelerate the 2 energies on Iron Hands. Like, I think Joltik Box just is more consistent to be able to do all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Less prone to item lock. I put
Yeah.
it in
I
C
think it was a
tier.
really good play. I think it was a really good play when Jesse, did you say C?
I'm putting it in C tier. I don't think it's D tier. I don't think it's bait.
I think it's bait.
You think it's bait?
Yeah, I think Charizard's better than it for sure.
I mean, Charizard. I put it in C. We put Charizard in B tier because I
Yeah, I
think
know, but
Charizard is good.
I first argued
Oh,
Charizard with C. That's my
okay,
thinking behind it.
okay.
Like I think
I'll
it's
slide
bait.
it. I'll slide it down to D.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like I said, like if you just want to play Maridon, just play Joltik instead because it's way better.
I mean,
So
I will
therefore,
generally
why would you
agree.
play a worse version of the deck? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and the
Um,
same thing I said about Charizard with like just play Dragapult,
I think Charizard
instead
is
of
different.
Charizard
I
Dragapult.
think
No,
Charizard
it
is
is different. It's not a easily comparable as Maridon is.
next one on the list. I know one of your favorites, Ethan's Typhlosion. I think the
I would say
stonks on this
C.
bad boy. You think C?
Yeah, I
Maybe,
mean,
maybe.
like having played the deck a lot, You're just hoping to hit Goldango like
I was
5
about to say,
times.
I think the stonks
You
are
know,
up
like
because of Goldango.
and also I've never felt a meta deck where in a tournament where I've hated every single starting hand.
Oh,
Where
interesting.
I've had no good starting hands with the deck.
I will.
And I don't think I'm playing like a bad list either. I think I'm playing a fine list. But I think that's kind of a problem with the deck, especially when you're trying to go up against like a ticking time bomb and Grimsnar or Dragapult is so tough.
Yeah.
And Gardevoir probably just beats you simply because they're also a pseudo one prize deck,
Yeah.
right? So they just never feed you really two prizers.
Yeah. They don't feed you two prizers, or if they do, they will do it. I don't know. Like in theory, like I would put if I had two Gardevoirs for whatever reason, I might feed you
Mhm.
one Gardevoir early game if I don't think that you're going to be able to KO the 310 because it is if you don't have the
Yeah,
max
especially at the
belts,
early game.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. Like a lot of times that I've seen people play the deck, in some ways it's wildly consistent in that your Quilavas get you more Quilavas, which get you
Oh
Typhlosions and the
yeah.
supporters, and it's like that's. But outside of that, if that's your supporter for two turns in a row, your hand kind of feels very dead. Otherwise, you're just like, so I have Pokemon and energy.
Well, the
Cool.
fact of the matter is that you have to get to that point,
Yeah.
which is the hard part. You know,
Mm-hmm.
once you're there, it's rocking, it's really cool, but you have to get to that point and like it's really tough if you just don't see TM Evo, at the very beginning
Yeah.
or whatever, you don't see Buddy Buddy Poff and stuff. And a lot of times too, like especially if you don't have TM Evo, sure you can run rare candy, but a lot of Typhlosions I feel like are running 2 max rare candies. So a lot of times you have to take a turn off, like on your second turn, to get into Quilava to be able to find your Ethan stuff,
Yeah.
right? So it's like it's really tough. Like if Goldango was 60% of the meta, I would always bring Typhlosion, and I'm bringing Typhlosion to Worlds because I have the deck built put together. But I wouldn't. I love the deck. I wouldn't put it any higher than C though.
Yeah. Fair. All right, next one up. I think I'm going to preemptively put this in A tier because I think that's where it belongs. I don't know what version, but that's Dragapult.
I think Dragapult Dusknoir is one of the few that can go in S.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a different level than Grimmsnarl. I think it's a little bit higher than it.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way that you're able to play with Dusknoir, we're starting to see Dragapults not even play Dusknoir. They're just playing Dusclops,
Yeah.
in that package, which I think is really, really interesting in a development, being able in the early game to really shut things down, being able to play multiple different special energies and, Brock scouting huge for the deck in terms of its consistency of trying to get to Dracloaks, use that ability 100 times on Dracloak to just filter through your deck and find every single piece. I think Dragapult's really, really good. And I think it's in a pretty good spot heading into Worlds.
Yeah. I think there are. I'm looking at the list that we've got left. I personally think there are three decks that would theoretically go into S tier. And I'd be happy putting that. I mean, it doesn't feel like an S tier if there's three decks, but I do think there's kind of a three deck
Yeah, like,
world.
well, I'm not in our tier list. We're not saying
Yeah,
that
I know.
there's just one best deck better than the
Yes,
rest.
exactly.
It's just, this is the highest rating for them,
Yeah.
So take the actual branding with a grain of salt, you know,
I will say with
and just
Dragapult, Lily's Clefairy, both in Gardevoir and out of Gardevoir, um, if you're playing against, you know, any of these any of these box style decks that can somehow get a Lily's Clefairy powered up, or a box style deck that has a different psychic Pokemon in it, where they can just drop a Lily's Clefairy, I will say, like, people, I don't know. I think it's absolutely devastating to Dragapult. I think that card
I will
alone is crazy bad.
well, I think outside of Gardevoir,
Hmm.
Lily's Clefairy is really just meant for Mew EX, and you're just trading two prizers at that point.
Well, you can attack
You know,
with the Lily's Clefairy straight up.
yeah, and it's worth two
It
prizes.
is. You are trading two prizes. Absolutely fair.
Yeah. The only
Um,
time that I'm really worried about Lily's Clefairy is in Gardevoir, because then that means the Drifloons, the Screamtails, like I'm only going to be able to take one prize on the
yeah.
clapback, whereas because Dragapult is also like in a situation to where a lot of times it's consistent enough to be able to
Have another one.
uh, yeah, to be able to get those energies on, to be able to, build up the game in a sense. So I don't know. I mean, because there's different variations. There's some that play Crispin. There's some that, play Neo Upper for a single attachment. There's some that play Sparkling Crystal to skip that
Yeah.
attachment, things like that. I think Neo Upper is probably the better one because of Jamming Tower. I would hate for a crystal to stop my jamming, or a
Yeah.
jamming tower to stop my crystal.
I
But,
think if you're playing
I,
Crystal, you're running Jamming
mhm.
Tower. My question for you though, Jake, is if you are running Dragapult, I think that your opponent's tools are very annoying because they're usually going to be things that like boost their HP in some capacity.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, would you run Tool Scrapper or Jamming Tower?
I would run Jamming Tower first because I think getting rid of a stadium that your opponent wants to play is more important than Tool Scrapper, even though Tool Scrapper is oftentimes found through Arvin. But especially if you're not playing Arvin, which,
Yeah,
especially with Brock scouting now, not
you're
a
not.
lot of Dragapults are playing Arvin. So like I think Jamming Tower is the inclusion that I would do. I think Tool Scrapper is a great card, as we've said for a number of years
Hmm.
on this podcast. But Jamming Tower is the better option because you talk about getting rid of Artisans, which are really good. The Drag or the Grimmsnarl matchup, getting rid of Spikemouth is just really good. Even stuff like Goldango, getting rid of uh like Lavencia City, some play
Yeah.
Artisan, Watchtower. I've seen some people play Area Zero Under Depths
I,
decks.
I will say,
Uh,
Jake, I got hit with I think it's called Lively Stadium in my challenge the
I
other
don't
day.
even know what that does.
Basic Pokemon HP get plus 30. I was playing against a future box deck,
Oh,
and I was trying to set up a four prize Gardevoir play. I'd had a horrible start. And I was like, okay, next turn, I can just move some damage. I have like, my brain was like, oh, this is locked in, right? There's no way my opponent can win. I can 100% get the damage. I can take four prizes. It's great. My opponent drops the lively stadium. I'm like, what are you? I need six more damage? No, this doesn't work anymore.
some cute
Ugh,
tech cards that you can do.
that drove me
I
crazy.
I just think stadiums are really important
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
fair.
And Jamming Tower gets rid of tools as well as a stadium.
Yeah. All right. Next one on the list. You alluded to it earlier, Jake. You alluded to it.
Mhm.
Crustle. I think the ultimate wall sort of deck right now
In this format.
in this
Yeah.
format. And if you don't know what Crustle does, it basically stops all damage done to that Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon EX. Pretty
Yeah.
standard style wall effect. We've seen it many, many times in the past in various forms.
Mhm.
Um, but the difference with Crustle is that it does, what is it, 150 damage?
It does a good amount of damage.
Yeah, whatever the amount is, I can't. Maybe it's 120. The card is very small on my screen, but um, let me just pull it up here separately. 120. It does 120 damage, which, if you think about a lot of these style shred attacks in the past,
Yeah.
for these Pokemon, they don't do a lot of damage. So you're like, your game plan is to hope that your opponent doesn't find a way around this effect. But 120, especially when you have ways to boost that damage and you can hit things like Charizard or Marnie's Grimmsnarl for weakness, I think that gives it that little edge that it didn't have before. So
Mhm.
personally, and it's going to sound weird, I would personally put this in an A tier.
Nope. B.
You think it's B?
I
Because
think
the
it's B.
Gardevoir
I think
matchup is
it's
that bad?
Well, I think it's a fair deck. But I think there's just a lot of one prizers, right? When we saw like Decidueye do really, really well, it's because everybody was only playing GXs, right? In like the
Hmm.
tag team era, VMAXs, stuff like that. Hoopa is kind of the same thing. Just everybody was playing those like EXs, GXs, and not a lot of like single prize options until like Garbodor came around, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that there's just more options within the format to be able to counter Crustle. You alluded to Chi Yu, you talked about Gardevoir for a second there. Even like Marnie's Grimmsnarl, right? Marnie's Grimmsnarl will stack the damage because it's a Pokemon with
Yeah.
an
True.
ability on it. They can put damage counters on their actually, can they stack the damage from a 180 attack?
Marnie's Grimmsnarl, no, because it's damage, not damage counters.
No. But
But
like TM Devo, like I
right,
was mentioning earlier, they stack the damage with the Frostlass and
and
Monkey
Monkey,
Dory stuff, and boom, and especially with Monkey Dory running around in the format, like I think it's a little bit more difficult for Cressels. So,
yeah,
but I would say that you're gonna cheese a lot of people, and especially when you present an option. I know I just talked about cheesing, but like you present an option to a deck that is not prepared for it
yeah.
or does not really know how the matchup goes, and you make your opponent think on the fly of different outs. That is more opportunities for mistakes, even at this super high level. So that's why I would say B is like it's not unbeatable, but I don't know if I would consider it like a top 5 deck
You
or
know,
anything like that.
I think the more you described it, the more I'm thinking about myself too. Like Worlds, every single player who's playing in the World Championships is one of the top players in their region, right?
Mhm.
So definitionally, the level of competition at Worlds is way higher than you would expect to see at day one of an average regional. I think Crustle at day one of a regional theoretically can do really well because you might get paired against a like half of the players you play against are people who have never played against Crustle, haven't thought about Crustle, and maybe they have a way to beat it, but they haven't thought through the optimal way to do that. And so by the time they figure it out, you're already winning, right?
And they're not like a top level player like Tord who can just think on the fly,
Right.
like those guys.
And so I think because of the format of Worlds and the player skill cap, like the where players are at skill wise, I do think Crustle is actually a much worse play at Worlds. Because to your point, all of these decks will have some way of trying to get around it, and the
Well,
players were not going
if
to be taken by surprise.
I don't know if people are going to be teching for Crustle. That's not
Well, no, but like
necessarily what I
Chi-Yu,
think, but yeah, like decks just naturally have
yeah,
an answer to Crustle.
yeah. So I think my point was though, like because of the skill set, people will know what their answer to Crustle is going in,
Hmm.
rather than Crustle taking people by surprise.
Hmm.
Um, Next one we got here is Eevee Box, which
This
I
is
have
my hot
labeled with
take.
Flareon.
This is my hot take of the episode. I think this is A tier.
Yeah, I don't think it's a hot take. I love Eevee Box.
Okay.
I
Okay,
think
cool. I think it's a
the
really cool deck. I think there's a lot of things that you can do with it. There's been a lot of people like playing around with different Pokemon that you can include in it, right? We started seeing the last week like less and less people playing Sylveon, which I don't
Mhm.
know if it's correct, but it's definitely like a different strategy, and having so many types to be able to hit so many different weaknesses and stuff like that. And Flareon just doing an absurd amount of damage during the turn, and with Crispin and Sparkling Crystal, like getting out all those different kinds of energies is actually not incredibly difficult.
no,
Um, I think it's in a really interesting spot.
yeah, I think your Flareon eats really good when you play Goldengo because you have perfect math for two
Yeah.
energy. Um, I think, and like you said, the variety of other attackers, like it's easy, I think, to throw in a Lily Sclefairy if you need to clean up a Raging Bolt or clean up a Dragapult or whatever. If you want to play a Sylveon package, you certainly can. But you could also play Leafeon, you could play Umbreon. Like, I don't think anybody's playing any of the other evolutions in here, but
No, I think it's
those are the
typically
ones.
like I think it's typically Flareon, Umbreon, and Sylveon, which are like the three most popular evolution. Or I'm
Hmm.
sorry, no, I said Sylveon. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Flareon, Leafeon, Sylveon. Those are the
yeah.
three options that are like most popular within it. Outside of maybe like EVEX,
Maybe
right?
Umbreon.
Which is
People
yeah.
have played around with that,
Um,
but
Yeah, it's just there's so many options to it, like in a box, and I feel like, and you also mentioned that first attack. Like I said, the second attack just dealing 280 damage, which is a good number in a lot of matchups. But burning charge sets up another attacker and does 130. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty good numbers, especially when people are shoving up Budus at the beginning of the game. People are, dealing with one prizers in the beginning in some form or fashion. You hit Goldango, perfect math. Um, yeah, I mean, I like Flareon heading into the championships.
I think Flareon stonks went up when Goldango stonk went up. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I like it as well. Next deck here, also very, very popular. We have Raging Bolt. Um, I think this is. I think Raging Bolt is. I'm looking at the rest of the list here. I think Raging Bolt is the best, um, not a best basic deck. It's not a. It's all two prizes, but I think it is the best basics deck. That's my opinion.
I have such conflicting feelings about Raging Bull.
I mean, I
I
would
feel like
put
it's
it in tier
B.
A. I would put it in tier. I think it's above Joltik Box.
Ah.
I Raging Bolt is just it's so strong. It's when you high roll with Raging Bolt, there's nothing like it.
It's so interesting because, like, I don't, man, I don't know. Like, you have no disruption. You are just using abilities and beating down opponents.
You will
Do
get clobbered by
you,
Crustle, and you will get clobbered by Iron. Well, actually, Iron Thorns. It's probably not horrible, but you will get
well,
clobbered by
it's like
Crustle.
there's, with everybody like playing Ionos and things
Yeah.
like that. How many times can you gamble that you can get out of an Iono?
I think the
You
answer
know,
is always and forever. I don't know. My
no
experience
way.
with it, my experience against it, Jake, I don't think I've ever. I might have
I
once
feel
Ionoed a Raging Bolt successfully.
I feel like Raging Bull is the perfect deck to bring if you don't know what you want to play.
That's fair. That's fair. If you're
I think
like, I don't
Raging,
like this spread, I'm just gonna gamble. We're gonna roll some dice.
yeah, like Raging Bolt is, because here's the thing. It is astounding to me that we go to these regionals and we go to ICs and things like that. And like the best players in the world never play Raging Bolt.
Mm, it's
You
true.
know, there are
Generally,
so, yeah, like there are so many top players that just do not play this deck because I feel like its strategy is so linear and it's so basic that it's just like it's very easy to counter in some form or fashion, whether it's, like a one prizer, with like Lily's Clefairy, whether it's hand disruption, whether it's just bouncing out your stadium, like turning off abilities or whatever. I don't know. I mean, Gardevoirs now play Klefki in a sense. Spoiler
yeah,
alert, I guess.
yeah.
Again, spoiling a lot about Gardevoir as it's the final deck that we'll talk about. But like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't like Raging Bolt heading into the World Championships. And B tier is a solid tier for me. B tier is like if one made it into Top Cut, I would be like, cool, awesome. But I would never pick it to win an event. I would never really expect it to see like more than one or two
Yeah.
in a Top Cut. Um, I don't know. I just feel like Raging Bolt is not there.
Okay, so right now I feel like B tier is the if it made Top Cut, you'd be like, oh, cool. I'm not like wildly surprised that one made it in, but if it was like,
I'd be like a little surprised, but like it's not like Typhlosion making it in or
yeah,
Garchomp where
that's
I'm like,
true.
oh my god, you
Okay,
know.
Jake.
But it's a solid average deck, but it's not a deck that I would expect to win at all.
Okay.
Like anything in S and A for me is a deck that I could see winning the world championships.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. I don't know if it would win the world championship. I think it is a very strong play, especially if you want to like make day two, make top 64. Because look, if you just high roll with the deck, it is crazy. The deck's wild.
Yeah,
One
I
person high
agreed.
rolling would not surprise me. But for every one that high rolls, there's nine that gets stomped.
Yeah. There's a lot of low rolls. Like
Yeah.
it's the what is it in Full Metal Alchemist? The law of equal exchange. Pay like
Yes, yeah, exactly. The next one here I put on here because I know people are playing various forms of it with Ethan's Ho-Oh, but Armor Rouge, for time's sake,
D
I'm just
tier.
gonna. You think it's D tier? I was gonna say
D
it's C
tier.
tier.
I don't know. It feels like another I want to beat Goldango
It's
deck.
bait. You think it's bait?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
worse
I'll,
than Typhlosion.
okay. You know what? I don't. We might need another tier for this one. Team Rocket's Mewtwo is below D tier.
It's definitely D tier.
I threw it
Yeah.
on the list because I was like, it was the poster child for the most recent set before Black Bolt White Flare, and the deck is just maybe it'll get
Buns.
better in the future, but right now it is dead on arrival. It
It is
is
buns.
it's I don't know what happened. Maybe somebody
It's
will
a really
break
cool
the
idea.
deck for the
I
World
just think spread is too
Championships.
popular.
Yeah,
I mean,
spread is
you
very
need
good. There's so much
because like
flexibility.
yeah, like if spread wasn't a thing, then I could see Mewtwo being a meta viable deck. I don't know
Hmm.
about meta winning contender deck, but meta viable. But I think right now there's just too much spread for it to be viable.
Now my question, Jake, is does Mewtwo get even better if when they introduce the new psychic patch that comes out? I think it actually does get a little better. Turn one,
Um,
280. Let's go, baby.
I guess in theory, like it could. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look at the deck list a little bit
Yeah.
more and like look at what the problems are of the deck.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't, I don't know if your problem is getting the energy to attack so much as it is having the Pokemon consistently to attack.
Yeah. Having all the Team Rockets in play.
Yeah,
Next one here, I'm just gonna immediately put Goldango in S tier because it's one of the three decks that was on my radar
I'd be all
for
right with that. Yeah.
because
I don't really have a complaint.
I think a lot of top players have been hyping this one up recently. I think Genesect EX is like a godsend for the deck. I mean,
I think it's really good. Yeah.
a basic Pokemon you can find with Nest Ball that basically says, "Hey, would you like to find two of your Goldango EXs and draw a billion cards?" Yes. What like?
Yeah. Like it's really interesting how you can like play Genesect now and not have to always worry about like Ultra Balls. Cause now, I mean, Goldengos don't really play Ultra Balls because there's no need.
Mhm.
Right? There's no need to play them anymore because Ultra Ball just cuts so many good resources out of your hand that you may need. Um, so yeah, the draw potential in this deck is really, really good. I really like it. You can play around with some of the tech cards in this deck. Like one of the few decks that plays Tool Scrappers. Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Having the space for that, but I do think it's really interesting because I feel like Goldango is going to be the most popular deck at Worlds. I think also it's got the biggest target on its back for
Mhm.
people gunning for it because it's going to be the most popular. So, um, that's why I was going to maybe put it in A because I feel like your target is so big that people are going to have way more text than you for like maybe comparably like Grimmsnarl or Dragapult to be able to beat you. But I'm all right putting it in S. Like I do think it's a top deck because it does warrant all that attention.
Yeah. I would agree. I think the next deck on our list is Iron Thorns, and I don't think many people will bring this, but
No, I
I
this
think
is like CD.
you think it's CD.
Yeah.
Have you played against an Iron Thorns recently in this format?
I mean, not really, but I've watched several people play against Iron
Okay.
Thorns, and it's like it's really annoying. Sure,
I'm
but I
just like,
think
if you're Goldengo, what do you do?
I don't know. Like I think the World Championships last year was like the peak for the deck.
Yeah, because they had access to what other cards were around? Like, I can't. Was there anything? I mean, maybe it was just that the format was that different.
Yeah, like the
Um,
format
yeah,
was at that point like much better suited for it where I think that sort of time has changed. I don't think you can surprise people with the deck
maybe
like you
not as
did at
much.
Worlds last year.
Yeah, there are a few decks here that I think it does not slow down in any capacity.
Yeah.
Joltik Box being one of them. Um, I mean, it might slow it down a little bit that like maybe your Miraidons can't find you all your pieces if you're playing a
Mhm.
Quad Thorns, and then Dragapult is another one where like Iron Thorns is almost does nothing against Dragapult.
Yeah.
So those two alone might spell the end of it. But I will say I would not be surprised if somebody made Top Cut or Top 32 with Iron Thorns, some version of it. It wouldn't blow my mind, because I do think that there's enough in the meta that it can do well against that. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jake, your most hated deck of all time, Frostlass Monkey Dory.
C.
You think it's D? You are out of
C.
your
Sorry.
C.
C.
Oh, I think you
C.
said D.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna
I
argue
think
for
it's C.
B. I think
I
if
don't know why
Crustle
you
is in
just wouldn't
B,
play Grimmsnarl.
well, because Grimmsnarl does not go heavy Maractus, right? I think
Yeah, but I
heavy
don't think
Maractus
I feel
trap
like you don't need Maractus.
Maractus trap is very strong in this format.
I think
That's why
Maractus
Dragapult's
trap.
playing it.
Well, Dragapult's a little bit different.
They're playing it to buy
I think
time,
Dragapult's a little bit.
but
Yeah, they're buying time to build up their attackers that do 200 damage and then spread.
I mean,
Whereas,
yeah.
like, you're just spreading like 4 damage counters a turn. Not necessarily.
True.
You're probably doing a little bit more, but I think the deck's goals are widely different. And I think it's the same thing that I feel about like Miraidon and Joltik Box. Like, why would you play just Frostlass Monkey Dory when you can play Grimmsnarl Frostlass Monkey Dory and have a big guy swinging 180 spread 3 while you're putting damage counters on and manipulating?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a better version of the deck.
I will say that Frostlass Monkey Dory does not have a particularly good matchup into Gardevoir in particular.
Oh yeah,
Because when you have an opponent who has 2 to 3 monkeys of their own, and you're just like, oh,
it's like, oh, you put damage counters on me, take it back.
yes, exactly. It's kind of that's definitely a tough one. I don't know though.
I think generally with any Monkey Dory deck, like stuff like that happens, and there's just so much Monkey Dory.
Yeah,
because it's
I
one
don't
of the best
know.
cards in format.
There's definitely a part of me that really thinks that like somebody is going to get top cut with a Frostlass Monkey deck, but I'll put it in C, and then we will
Top
keep an
32
eye
at
on
the
that.
highest.
Yeah,
Top
I mean,
32
I
at
don't
the
think anybody's,
highest.
because like the thing is, once you get to top 32, I fully expect Gardevoir to be there as well, and I think it's just gonna eat your Frostlass alive. So,
Yeah.
next one we have Terrabox.
Terrabox I'd probably also put in C.
You put it in C.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
interesting things you can do with it, and like Terapagos is a cool finisher Pokemon.
I think the water Ogerpon as well is very strong, especially as people play less and less Shaman.
Yeah. I almost have a similar feeling to this as Flareon Box, where in like my comparisons of like, well, if you want to play a Terra deck, just play Flareon because it is a Terra deck. You're playing Noctowls, you're playing Flareon, and
Yeah.
I feel like in Flareon you can play Terapagos as well.
Yeah.
Like
you
a
totally
one
could.
of Terapagos for a finisher.
Yeah, and then the Crown Opal attack, like, it's not the attack that most people are thinking about, but if you have the energy for it, or if you're running the Sparkling Crystal, in certain matchups, that attack is like so annoying.
It could be good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're facing a raging dolt. I mean, raging bolt. I'm sorry, that was a bad joke. Facing raging bolt where everybody has 8,000 Pokemon on the bench. Sure.
A couple of more decks here. We have Roaring Moon EX. I think I will preemptively put this in D tier.
Yeah, no complaints.
I think that it is some people have had some success online. I do, however, think that I think the deck gets better in the future with Mega Gengar EX, but I think right now Roaring Moon in various forms it's just not the moment. So a deck you and I briefly talked about, Slow King EX. Not Slow King, just Slow King, not EX. D? I think it's a C tier deck. I really do. I don't think that it is a good deck that you can completely write off. That's my point.
I can. If I was going to the World Championships, I would not think about at all Slow King. Sure, like you get the Kuramoff and you do like that spread damage because nobody's playing Shaman anymore. It's just unlucky if I hit one at the World Championships.
True, but if the person who plays it, every person they play against is like, oh, I'm unlucky, and then that person goes 10-0. I feel like
No,
that's a
because
pretty
they
good meta
cannot
call.
beat they cannot go 10-0, I don't think, at the World Championships. No shot that they can
That's-
go 10-0.
I mean,
I don't
probably.
believe
I
that
don't
for a
know.
second.
I feel
I don't
like
believe that for a
I
second.
feel like somebody will have a good run with it. All right, I'll stick it in D. I'll stick it in D, and then we can stick Gardevoir where it belongs, at the top of A tier. Um, S
I
tier,
think
at the
it's
top of
S
S tier,
tier.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think, other than like one event, I think Gardevoir had won basically every major event in the Destined Rivals format. So I now my question to you, Jake, and actually as somebody who played it recently, I think the Jellicent is bait.
I do too.
I played it. I don't like it. People are like, oh, but the Frillish is great. And I'm like, you can't retreat into the Frillish turn one going second and get the attack off on the same turn. It's effectively
I think
impossible unless you started
I
with
think
the Mew.
Jellicent's just asking too much. Like if I was playing Gardevoir instead of Jellicent, I would just play like uh what's his name? Klefki. I played
Klefki is very
Klefki
strong.
Cleffa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Klefki is pretty interesting heading into this championship, right? With the different basic Pokemon. You talk about shutting off a lot of Joltik box with the Miraidon for the consistency. You shut off a Raging Bolt, such a bad deck. I hate Raging Bolt, man. You shut off that. You shut off Flareon box with Fan Rotom with Rotom Call.
Yeah. That's
You shut
really,
off like all the Latias decks for the
yeah.
free retreat. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like you just shut off a lot of things. All the monkeys and Fez and stuff like that. Like, I think Klefki is a really awesome starter. It's
Yeah.
not like a Pokemon that you want to use in the late game or the mid game. Like after turn one, you're probably not using it anymore. But
No. No.
I think Klefki's a really interesting call. The more I think about it, the more I like it.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about Klefki too is that if it's in the active and you somehow, if you have it in the deck and you somehow hit an Iron Thorns,
Hmm.
you can throw it up into the active, get your ability off, and then retreat your way into whatever it is you want to attack with. So, yeah. So that's our tier list.
So for my sake, because I
Yeah.
think I have one more thing that I want to say about the S and the A tier.
So S
What
tier
decks
is
remind me what decks are there?
Gardevoir, Goldengo, and Dragapult, and we only put
Hmm.
two in the A tier: Marnie's Grimmsnarl and Eevee Box.
So take EV box out of leave EV box in the
Yeah.
A tier, but like Grimmsnarl and the three decks in S tier, I personally feel like there's a really good debate about changing and flipping those four in either one of those two boxes. I don't know if I'd put any of them lower than A, but I think depending on like how the meta has shifted for Worlds and based on like how heavy people want to tech for certain matchups, I think is like I think I think that those four can change a lot, like at any given moment. So even though that's what I feel like right now, like if you were to tell me that Goldango was 15% of the room, but only had one in top cut, like maybe it's A tier. I
Yeah.
don't think I wouldn't be like super mad about being wrong. Like I think this format is really interesting where like a lot of these can like move.
Yeah, I agree. I think those four decks though, the only deck that I could see splitting up those four from being the most played decks at Worlds is maybe either Joltik Box or Raging Bolt, because those are popular decks, right? People like
Yeah.
basics. You don't have to evolve. You just get a bunch of energy on. You try to high roll your way into winning in a lot of circumstances. So I think people tend to play those decks because they're less prone to missing pieces, right?
Hmm.
But otherwise, I do think those four that you just named are going to be the most played decks that have any sort of evolution. So
Yeah, I'm really excited about this world championship. I think there could be some really, really cool stuff heading in there and a lot of good variety as well that's there. It'll be curious because I'm not going to be This is the first time that I won't be like hardcore watching the World Championships, right? Because like I'm going to be doing side events, I'm going to be doing the Pokemon Center, I'm going to be doing little meetups, things like that. You know, hanging out with people. I'm going to bring two standard decks and a GLC deck. So
Okay.
if you want to run some games and you ever find me, do the Pokemon NPC thing like in the video games where you look at me and you're like, you looked at me funny. Let's battle.
Yeah.
That would give me a good laugh.
Yeah. I'm also going to bring a couple of standards. I'm going to bring my GLC. I think Jake and I will also be bringing some One Piece decks.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring a One Piece deck if anybody wants to play One Piece and Gundam. I'll bring a Gundam deck if you want to play Gundam too. I will, but those are that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
I won't bring any other decks.
No more. No, I mean I might bring a Commander deck. Jake, do you want to learn Commander? Have you played Commander?
I have not played. I've played a little bit of Magic Arena, but this was several years ago. This was like 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago.
Maybe I'll bring
but
a
I'd
Commander deck for you to learn, Jake, and we can.
Yeah,
if we find two
bring
other
a Commander
people, we
deck,
can run a pod.
Yeah, if you bring a Commander deck, I'll play with you. I'll learn it.
So everybody who's coming to Worlds, who's listening to this pod or in the Discord, coming to Worlds, bring all of the TCGs that we just mentioned here if you want to run some games with us.
Yeah, and also I have this wall over here. The audio listeners can't hear this, but I have this wall over here that's signed cards for people who meet me at events. Eventually, I'm putting all the Rowlets that I have on this board. So at the World Championships, if you want to sign one of my cards to put on the wall, or you want to bring your own card to sign yourself, give it to me, put it on the wall. This wall is going to have a lot more Pokemon here soon. So yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome.
Again, official Discord server in the link in the description and show notes below to join. That's the best way to be able to find us during the World Championships.
Yep. Jake, sign us out.
That's going to be it for the Metapod podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to talk about next week how wrong we were about all of these decks and how actually what deck did Garchomp ends up winning the World Championships. I'm Jake, that's Sean. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.